Namaste. I'm Devna Khanna and I would like to welcome you to today's webinar, Healthy Living in Difficult Times. I would like to extend a big thank you to US Soybean and Export Council for making this event possible.
Good evening, dear students. A very warm welcome to the webinar, Healthy Living in Difficult Times, in association with the US Soybean Export Council. Today, in these tough times, this subject is of relevance to all sections of the society. A healthy you, both physically and mentally, can make immense contributions towards the growth of a country. The experts will share their ideas and experiences with the participants on the issues of healthy living in the current difficult times. A physically fit and mentally healthy India is the need of the hour, and let us all contribute towards this goal. Let's stay positive and spread positivity around us. On behalf of D.Y. Patil University School of Hospitality and Tourism Studies, I would like to thank the US Soybean Export Council once again for this fantastic collaboration with us. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu. Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu, AVSM BSN, is a soldier, sportsman and a leader. He superannuated as the Director General of Supplies and Transport of the Indian Army in 2017. He was instrumental in bringing about a number of transformative changes in the Army. He has served extensively in operational and insurgency areas. He has been an instructor in all premier institutions of the Armed Forces, including Defence Services Staff College. Lieutenant General Sandhu is a member of a number of strategic think tanks and writes extensively in journals. He is the Vice President of Indian Polo Association and is part of the management of Delhi Golf Club. So over to Lieutenant General Sandhu.
Thank you, Devna Khanna. You've been very gracious in introducing me. I can't comment on the rest, but one thing for sure, I spent 4 decades in the Indian Army as an officer, and large part of it was in difficult areas, field areas, and one went through tough times and went through them as a way of life. I enjoyed every moment then, and I enjoyed now recollecting all that. So we shall be speaking today about staying healthy in tough times. There couldn't be better definition of tough time than what the whole world is going through now. And when you talk about healthy, it means both physical health as well as the mental health. One thing which is always or very often taken for granted and not given attention to. So I shall discuss my experiences and some of my views and go through this journey of how to stay healthy in difficult times. Let me start with a quote by John F. Kennedy. He says the traditional way of writing the word crisis, C-R-I-S-I-S, use 2 brush strokes. One which signifies danger and the other which shows opportunity. So you need to be aware of the danger, yet look for the opportunities, grab one and convert this crisis into great victory. You'll agree with me that living with danger and uncertainty is a way of life in the army. I recollect when I was a young officer, I was posted in a field area. And in a field area, you invariably stay in uniform all 7 days of the week. But on Saturday evenings and Sunday lunches and dinners in the officers' mess, you utilize your civilian clothes to feel a little relaxed. And I remember when he saw a man coming with a file in uniform, and he would give a look to the adjutant, who is a staff officer in the unit. He'll take that file, read through it, then go and whisper something in commanding officer's ear. And then we used to look at each other, who out of us is going to be detailed for this task. Obviously, as expected, one of us will be told to do something for which we closed our plate, went to the officers, to our room, changed into the required uniform, and then meanwhile we call it a battle procedure, which means simultaneous action at all levels of command. So this gentleman will gather the manpower, whether it's 5 men, 50 men, 100 men, the vehicles, brief them till they are ready to get my final briefing. You reach there, you brief them and you get going. You will be then told how long, or you would have been told already, but this is the time when you realize the stay outside could be 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. And I've had an instance where we had to replace the formation in insurgency area who had to move to the northern theatre. And the person in whose room I was going to stay, because we had come from another place, he told me, "Yeah, just watch out. We'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks and take care of my room." Can you imagine? That was 1991. Till 2020 now, more than almost 30 years, they haven't gone back yet. So that's the kind of uncertainty we learn to live with in the army. Another thing that I was talking of was to grab an opportunity. Military history has examples galore, where a lot of people armies which are on the verge of decimation, grabbed an opportunity and came out victorious. One campaign which I studied in detail, I can quote, is the Russo-German campaign. In 1941, the Germans attacked Russia, violating one of the treaties, and the speed at which they galloped, and they reached the outskirts of Moscow, creating havoc in the ranks of the Russians. To their rescue came the winters, so the Germans were held outside Moscow and Stalingrad. And besides the tough winters they had to go through, the Russians held their defenses, created opportunities to keep them engaged in combat, till they tied up with the Americans and the British, and you would know the Normandy landing. So the Allies on one side came from Europe using the Normandy landings, with the British and the Americans and other forces. And on the other side, the Russians started from Moscow and they all converged at Berlin, bringing the Second World War to an end. Such an historic event where a crisis was converted into opportunity. The examples are immense. We can keep counting through the day. But there are, if you are a fighter, if you are a person who doesn't give up, whether it is war or it is daily life, you can grab an opportunity in a crisis. Now, I don't need to recount the magnitude of present day situation. On the New Year's Eve, when people are collected and gathered in, say, thousands in some of the clubs or some of the places, could you have imagined that 3 months from then, or 2.5 or 3 or 4 months from then, there will be such a havoc in this earth? There will be people dying, the economies will come to a halt. Normally you see one flight cancelled and the media goes and takes opinion for everyone. Can you tell me the inconvenience caused to you, and what is the loss to the work that you are supposed to do? And for now more than 2 months, there are no global aviation working. You can't visit another country. And that's the case for the entire world. You could have never imagined the width and the depth of this new tough situation. But what do? Either you leave it to destiny, but they say the God has also left human beings to write their own destiny, or amend their own destiny, or create their own destiny. So I would say that you take this challenge and decide to fight, and be sure that you will come out as a winner. Human beings have tremendous physical and mental capacity, at times beyond what they can imagine that they have. So utilize that. They say the human mind is so complex, it can process data better than the best of the supercomputers. So use that and get going with it. Human beings can do multitasking. I mean, why go far? We've had a cyclone, we have the COVID, and we have other related crises which human beings can handle simultaneously. Now, on the individual front, also, what is the way forward? And it's a standard thing: be positive, spread positivity. But that's easier said than done. How do I spread positivity? Let me give you 2 incidents. There's a person called Field Marshal Slim, a British general, who led the Allies campaign in Burma. So the Burma campaign started from a place called Kohima, till which place the Japanese had come pushing the Allies. And Kohima is currently the capital of Nagaland. And this is from where he relaunched his forces and pushed the Japanese into Burma. So the next halt was Imphal, which is the capital of Manipur. So during one of the, he was a hands-on general who visited the front lines. So during one of these visits, when he was walking along with the ADC, and it was raining very heavily, and the ADC tells him, "Sir, it's raining really bad." So he said at that moment, he says, "Remember, son, things could have been worse if we weren't even carrying a rain cape. Thank God we are carrying the rain capes." There's another one. "I was cribbing about my torn boots till I saw a man without feet." So look around in crisis. Things could have been worse. Thank yourself, thank your organization, thank God for what you possess, and don't crib about what you don't have. This is a time which are challenging times, and challenging times need innovative and bold solutions. They are not by the book, standing operating procedures which will give you dividends. So, you can't plan on a thing and sit, or at a higher level just plan a thing in the office and expect it to be executed. You have to have a very dynamic strategy. There will be moments you have to concentrate on saving lives, even if it is at the cost of the economy. And there will be moments after a while when you reach a stage where you've been able to stabilize yourself. Now you may have to risk lives to make sure that the economy works. And this is what I call a dynamic space. Why go far? This webinar would have been a seminar a few months back, say before December, and today, because of the innovation, you have as much reach, but it is in the form of a electronic signature or electronic means. So this is what we call as grabbing an opportunity, and organizations have enhanced their output. In fact, some like World Bank are processing many more cases. There is less time being spent on conferences, there is less time being spent on travel. And a lot of organizations, but for the manufacturing, which involves physical presence and use of machines, organizations have enhanced their inputs. Now, to have the organization and the countries do all this, the person who counts the most is the individual. And as an individual, what you need to do is, the first word as a military man I remember is discipline. And discipline would mean a self-discipline, because you have nobody to enforce it. So you must make a plan and tell yourself, I am not going to be overtaken by laziness. I am not going to be overtaken by excuses as to why I could not do this and I could have done this because of this. You have to follow a strict routine which you must make and keep yourself occupied. Like they say in the army, either you keep your men busy or they will keep you busy by creating so much of trouble amongst themselves. So keep yourself occupied. Use these old mantras. You could take up gardening, cooking, music, painting. There's a friend of mine who is on our group of the NDA course. He uploads a new painting every few days. There's another one who's now at this belated age of 63 years has started learning a mouth organ. So there are n number of ways of keeping yourself busy. You could do productive work doing some household jobs which you otherwise never did, and play computer games as long as you don't get addicted. And there are n number of things by which you must keep yourself busy. You must have a routine and follow it. I'll tell about myself. I'm doing the PhD currently. The first thing I did at the time of the lockdown was to complete my thesis. It's about 85,000 words. I had done large part of it earlier, but I gave it the finishing touches and completed it within first 2 weeks of the lockdown and added it over to my guide. Besides doing all this, to express my thoughts about what was going around, I wrote about 4 to 5 articles on COVID, on the supply chain management, on the human aspects, and they've been published in various journals. So that is one way of doing things. And capability building is one thing which will always come in handy. This is the time for a person, whenever you're in a crisis, whenever you're in a place where you can't do much. I learned golf in a field area, there's no golf course. So I used to live in a tent on a hillock. I collected some balls. I learned from the books in those days, and I used to hit balls into the valley, and I learned this game of golf. Likewise, again, we are deployed in an insurgency area, in a very small place we used to live, and about 200 by 300 yards. To get yourself fit, I used to run around that building, and for the exercises, jump up and down those 5 to 6 steps that you had. Aim was to create an opportunity for yourself to stay fit. And I would say regarding fitness, you must have a balance between your food intake, the work you do, the exercise you do, and the sleep. And if you are able to do that within 24 hours, you will for surely stay healthy, obviously if you are eating healthy. And nowadays you can do n number of online courses which can build your capabilities, and you will have these coming of use to you, might be after the lockdown or over. One aspect which really needs attention is your mental health. Besides what I said was following a routine, we were once interacting with a mind coach for golf, and I thought there'd be something magical told. All that she said was, you stand here, you plan to put 10 out of the 15 balls in that circle. Do it. If you don't do it, go back again. And do it till you are able to achieve 10 out of the 15 balls in the circle. So in summary, set your own goals, achieve them. And till you achieve them, don't leave that thing. Don't say, okay, if 8 is fine. No, I have decided, because I've been doing it myself. I used to do certain exercises for 30 seconds. I increased it to 45. I've touched 2 minutes now. That gives you a lot of sense of satisfaction. Likewise, I'm going to write this much, and you write that article. If you don't sit down and make sure that you complete it, it is again another thing of training your mind. Psych yourself to stay motivated. Tell yourself about the positives and be in touch with positive people. You have technology, and don't spend too much of time on the negative news, because they tend to act upon you. And the sum total of the whole story is make yourself so competent, so capable with your skills and your thought process that at any time of crisis, your subordinates, your peers, and your seniors look at you to be the pivotal force who will solve those problems. And to sum it up, there's a very famous saying by poet Iqbal. इसे खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से ये खुद पूछे बता तेरी रज़ा क्या है. For today's proceeding, we have very accomplished speakers. We have Ira Trivedi, who is a best-selling writer and a yoga acharya of repute. We have Rani Singh, a singer with the soul. And may I now invite Ishi Khosla. She's a practicing clinical nutritionist. She's a columnist. She's an author. She's an entrepreneur, a researcher. And in recognition of her standing, she's been recipient of a number of awards in her career. She's been felicitated recently by the President of India for her work in the field of nutrition. And she was listed among the 25 most powerful women in the country by the India Today group. We couldn't have had a better speaker than Ishi Khosla to speak on nutrition. May I request you, ma'am, to please take the stage.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Ishi Khosla. I'm a practicing clinical nutritionist. And today I'll be talking to you about how to eat healthy with the current situation which COVID-19 has brought with it. COVID-19 has really caught the world totally unexpected. There is so much fear, anxiety, people are getting depressed. It has actually affected each one of us physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. It has created history and changed lives forever. The only way one can deal with the situation is to make our own bodies resilient. One needs to understand how one can fight the infection and build up our immunity. That's the question which everybody has in mind. I would be spending the next few minutes talking to you about how to begin to eat healthy and how to make your bodies strong. Because it's only your immune system which can make the difference. Why, when the infection is all around, some people get it and some people don't? The difference is our immune systems. So, how does one go about it? I have packed this information into what I call the 3 Ps. The 3P is nothing but a 3-step approach to planning your diet. The first P stands for proteins. The second P stands for protective foods. And the third P is for planning. I will explain each one of these as I go along. Let's begin with proteins. Proteins are nothing but building blocks of our cells. They help in maintaining the wear and tear in our body. Many of our hormones, neurotransmitters, enzymes, all of which are important for our immunity, are made up of proteins. Why I'm beginning with proteins? Normally, most of our diets are planned around carbohydrates, around cereals, the breads and the rotis and the pastas and the noodles. They're also called carbs. In the current scenario, what is critical for immunity is enough adequate protein, which we find that most of our diets are lacking, because most of our diets actually are high on carbohydrates. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for a high protein diet. I'm talking about meeting the requirements of protein, taking adequate protein. Proteins should be there in good quantity, in the right proportions, in at least 2 meals. And what is this right proportion? I will talk to you about that shortly. But let's understand what are the protein-rich foods around us. Protein are coming both from animal kingdom and from the plant sources. Animal protein includes meat, fish, eggs, poultry, and dairy. Plant protein includes all the lentils, the pulses, the legumes, all of which are commonly consumed in India. Sprouts and besan are all sources of plant protein. Even peas actually are a source of protein, plant protein, and so are nuts. There are a lot of misconceptions around proteins. So before I go on to how much protein we require, let's understand some basic facts about proteins, especially poultry. Poultry includes all the chickens and the turkey and eggs. Eggs, for some reason, have been in the line of fire because of their cholesterol content. The fact is that the cholesterol in eggs is really not going to increase or cause inflammation in our bodies. They will not increase the blood cholesterol levels. Most people avoid them thinking in fact, they are asked to avoid them because of the issue of high blood cholesterol levels. The relationship between eggs cholesterol and our body cholesterol is very weak and has been validated by several studies. Several scientific studies have shown that eating eggs on a regular basis causes no harm to heart health. So that's one myth On the contrary, the egg yolk, which is the richest in cholesterol, also contains several cardioprotective and immunity building nutrients. Vitamin A, beta carotene, B vitamins, and several others, including selenium, are richly packed in egg yolks in very few calories. A simple egg gives you only about 60 to 80 calories and packs in so many micronutrients. And not only that, it is also excellent quality protein. The egg albumin is also what we call a reference protein. So eggs should be a part of a heart healthy diet and an immunity building diet and a generally healthy diet if you're not allergic to it and if you're not vegetarian. Likewise, poultry, whether it's chicken or turkey or similar meats, are perfectly healthy to eat, particularly in the current scenario. There are several myths around the issue regarding infection and COVID. This must be understood that there is absolutely no reason for anyone to avoid poultry because of COVID. Poultry is cooked and poultry is not a carrier of COVID 19. So let's be very, very clear on that. And now we come to the issue of meats. Many people avoid red meat because of its, again, correlation with heart disease. Yes, red meat can be pro inflammatory and counterproductive to immunity building and general health. But if people who enjoy and cannot do without their red meat, maybe once a week, a small portion of about, I would say, now, um, 30 to 100 grams is good enough. In general, what are protein requirements? There are several myths around this as well. To be very clear, it's important to understand an average person's requirements under normal circumstances. This is 0.75 grams per kg body weight, not per pound body weight. Several gyms and several people have the belief that it is 1 gram per pound of body weight, which is incorrect, which actually increases or the requirement by almost double. If you are doing any kind of workout or if you are doing excessive weight training, your requirements may be going up to 1 or maximum 1.5 grams per kg body weight. So that's really how much protein you require. And on an average, any one time if you take protein, the simplest way to understand is it's a size of your fist. The portion should be a size of your fist, and always pair your protein with double the quantity of that of vegetables. So if your protein is this much, then the twice of this should be your vegetables. So always pair your proteins with vegetables because proteins are acidic in nature and they need to be balanced by alkaline foods, which are vegetables or fruits. So you can have plenty of fruits with your egg in the morning, or you can have whatever meats, poultry, eggs you have. Make sure at least double or triple the quantity of vegetables are there in your plate. How simple is that? So that covers your first P. The second P is protective foods. We are talking about immunity building, and hence the name protective foods. They protect you from diseases, from infections. They build up your immunity. And I'm really talking about something you already know, vegetables and fruits. Ensuring that you have adequate portions of vegetables and fruits and the right blend of vegetables and fruits will ensure a healthy immune system, and not only for your immunity but also prevention of obesity, diabetes, heart disease and other chronic degenerative problems. What makes these foods protective are the specific chemicals they have, what are called phytochemicals. These chemicals impart the colors to these fruits and vegetables. They impart the flavors and the specific the benefits of the fruits and vegetables. These are phytonutrients, and there are so many phytonutrients which have been now discovered by science. And now we know that the best way to include all the benefits of phytonutrients is by taking the rainbow colors, which means red, green, orange, purple, deep purple, pink, whatever, yellow. These colors have not only visual appeal, but they also have a huge benefit in your bodies by protecting you from diseases. Hence, this group is indispensable. And what I recommend is that dedicate one meal of your day to just this group. Fruits and vegetables have another dimension, which is enzymes. If you take fruits and vegetables in an uncooked form, they give you what we call enzymes, which are absolutely essential for your body. We also make enzymes, our body makes enzymes, but when they are obtained through food, they really help in cleaning up and detoxifying our bodies and building up our immune systems. So ensure that at least 50% of the vegetables and fruits you consume are in an uncooked form. Once you cook them, you lose the benefit of these enzymes. There is another aspect of fruits and vegetables, which is what we call prana. They give you the benefit of life. So you can see how valuable this group is, and how integral it needs to be a part of our diet. And we all understand, when we look at a healthy plate or healthy food, we only think of salads and we think of these bright colors, but we are unable to make up the right quantities. So the best way in this P formula is to ensure that you dedicate one meal of your day. You can have a breakfast of fruits, or you can have a lunch of only salads, or you can have a dinner of soup and steamed vegetables or stir-fried vegetables. It's as simple as that. Protective foods also include good fats. Protective foods also include pre and probiotics, which are good for your healthy gut and your immune system. Protective foods are also found in spices, the entire spice box. They're also found in whole grains and the husks of these grains and fruits and vegetables. So fiber is also what we call protective. It helps the gut to grow good bacteria, the good probiotics we keep talking about, which are integral to immunity. With that, we come to the last group, which is planning. Planning is as important as planning. That means planning your food is as important as planning your meetings and the other things in your life. You plan your clothes, you plan your day, you plan your time, your meetings, and other engagements. Please start by planning your food, what you're going to eat and when you're going to eat, and how much you're going to eat when. Because ultimately, it's not only about what you eat, it's about how much you eat and when you eat. So the time is extremely important. And when I'm saying time, what do I mean by planning on time? There are certain rules for eating which we must respect. Eating early in the day is far better than eating in the second half of the day. That is clear science now, and also part of our traditional wisdom. Eating in the earlier part of the day ensures you digest your food well and you do not go towards obesity, because there are clear benefits of eating in sync with your circadian rhythm or your body clock. In the evening, the body is not as prepared to handle food, so keep your body light in the evening. Eating your last meal by 7:30 is an extremely valuable and a wise practice, and most of us who can do it will benefit from it. And I'm sure many of you have done it and found the difference. It also ensures better sleep, which is again an important part of immunity building. Planning also means when you're going to plan to have your supplements, when you're going to exercise, and I go back to the cereal and say what kind of cereals you're going to have. Cereals means your carbs, whether you're going to have a roti or rice or millets, depends on you what you tolerate. Many people today do not tolerate certain grains. So do plan, do know what works for you and what doesn't, and eat accordingly. So planning is critical to healthy eating, planning your exercise, your supplements, planning what time you're going to sleep is also important. With that, I feel if you can put in the rest of the elements, which means positivity, which means anti-inflammatory habits, staying calm, staying in a positive state of mind, will help you by helping your gut microbiome. I spoke about the gut bacteria. Once your gut bacteria is happy, it's in sync with nature, with happiness and positivity, it will work in your favor. If you are stressed, if you are constantly anxious, if you're panicking, that effect of the brain goes onto the gut. There is a huge gut and brain connection, and it's so important today that it is called the second brain. The gut is known as the second brain because of the close contact and the impact of one and the other. Earlier we thought that the brain affected the gut. Today we know that the gut can affect the brain as well. So in order to keep your good bacteria happy to eat, to keep it in a state of positivity, one must remain positive. And for that, things like yoga, meditation, physical activity are all equally important. So the message for you all is to eat mindfully. One of the tools to eat mindfully is also to maintain a food diary. If you can do that, it really helps you to understand your body, to listen to your body, to see the signs. If you're not digesting your food well, if you're feeling constipated, you're feeling like bloated or acidic, there's something wrong in what you're doing. Maintain a food diary. Eliminate the foods you think are suspicious and see how you feel, and seek professional help if there is a requirement. Also, there are a huge there's the issue regarding nutritional deficiencies. So if you feel like you're getting tired or you're not 100%, then it's good to know where you are with your nutrients, and to understand that simple blood test which can cover your vitamins, particularly vitamin D, vitamin B12, iron, etc. is going to be very valuable. So I would just say that be mindful again about what you eat. Building immunity does not happen overnight, and it doesn't happen with just a magic food. It means that you are careful about what you eat on a day-to-day basis, and I would say you need to change your relationship with food. Try and eat to live rather than live to eat. My best wishes to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishi Khosla. That was a very, very educative discourse on nutrition. And the next speaker, may I invite Ira Trivedi. She's a best-selling author who's written 8 books, fiction, non-fiction, and children's books, for which she received a number of awards. In addition to her work as a writer, she is a yoga acharya. She's been hosting a number of TV shows or other. She's been on the TV shows as a yoga acharya, and she teaches classical Hatha yoga, for which she led a team during the International Yoga Day at the Rajpath, which ultimately resulted in a few records set in the Guinness Book Record. And she's the founder of Namami Yoga, which teaches yoga to the organizations and individuals. May I now request Ira Trivedi to please take the stage.
Namaste everyone, this is Ira Trivedi, and welcome to this short video on pranayama or breathwork. In this day and age of coronavirus, it's really important that all of us keep our immunity up. And the best way to do that is to introduce a short pranayama practice into your daily routine. And this will help you do that. What we're doing is two very simple exercises. The first one is Kapalabhati, or the skull shining exercise. What this is doing, this is not technically a pranayama. What it is that it's a cleansing exercise or a kriya. We're just evacuating our lungs of stale oxygen. We're pushing infection out of our lungs, pushing allergens out of our nostrils. We're generating heat in the body, which is really wonderful for circulation. This is also really good for your abs. So if you have stomach, if you have fat around your abdomen, this helps you get rid of it. And after that, we're moving straight into the alternate nostril, or the Anulom Vilom practice, which is probably the most powerful pranayama and my personal favorite. It immediately brings a sense of ease in the mind. As I've always said, and not just me but great masters, that if you can control your breath, you can control your mind. And if you can control your mind, you can control your life. So let's get down to it. I'll be giving short explanations through the practice. These are basically safe for everyone to do. Let's begin in any comfortable seated posture. It could be Sukhasana, it could be Padmasana, or it could even be Vajrasana. So you can choose whatever is comfortable for you and then begin. For me personally, Padmasana is very comfortable and very stable, and that's how I do all my pranayama, but this can be a little advanced for some people, so just do whatever you can. Even if you want to do this on a chair, that's perfectly fine. The only thing here is that your spine should be straight. So let's get started with the practice of Kapalabhati, the stomach pumping exercise, or in Sanskrit that's translated to the skull shining practice. What we're doing is that we're pumping the air out of our lower abdomen. So let me just show you how this looks. So it's something like, keeping in mind that the inhalation is automatic, so it's like a balloon. When you press the abdomen, and then when you press it out, the air comes back in, right? So pump, inhale, pump, inhale. It's very simple. So just when I go 1, then just pump, and when I go 2, then allow the air to come back in automatically. Let's begin. Sit comfortably with your back straight, your spine straight. We'll begin with a few deep breaths. Inhale on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. And exhale on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Inhale on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. And exhale on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Now inhaling deeply, we're going to begin the practice. Inhale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and release. Now just take a few deep breaths at your own pace. Getting your breath back. Feeling the mind focus. And slowly opening your eyes. You can release your legs if you need to. If your legs feel stiff or tired, if you're not used to sitting on the ground, you can just release the legs, move them side to side. Do the actions with grace, smoothly and swiftly, and then you can come back to whatever seated posture is comfortable for you. Moving now to the practice of the Anulom Vilom, or alternate nostril breathing. We keep the right hand in Vishnu Mudra. So we keep the middle finger and the index finger down on the thumb. And what the mudra does is, it's a mudra, I describe it as a PowerPoint. So when you put the plug into the PowerPoint, you start getting electricity. So this is what the mudras do. When we make certain postures, certain mudras with our hands, then we start conducting that pranic energy and energy flow through our body. So this is with the Vishnu Mudra. You bring it up, make sure the elbow is not like this, or not like this, or not like this, but it's very close to your chest. This makes it more stable. If it rests on your chest, it makes it even more comfortable. So again, we cover the thumb on the right, the other two on the left, and just follow my instructions. We're going to begin the practice inhaling on 4, retaining on 4, and exhaling, and then we're going to move to the slightly more advanced practice as we progress. Keeping your right nostril shut, inhaling from the left on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Closing both nostrils, retaining the breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhaling from the right, keeping the left nostril shut on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Keeping the left nostril shut, inhaling from the right on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Closing both nostrils, retaining the breath on 1, on 2, 3, on 4. Exhaling from the left, keeping the right shut on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Inhaling from the left, keeping the right shut on 1, on 2, on 3, on 4. Both nostrils shut, retaining the breath. And slowly drop your hand down on your knee. Take a few breaths. Feel the change in your mind, in your body, in your conscious body, and in your subconscious body. And slowly rub the palms together. Bring the palms on your eyes. Bring the palms on your head. Slowly bring the palms down. And that's it. It's a beautiful, short, daily pranayama practice. This can immediately boost your immunity, boost your energy, and bring a stillness and calm to the mind which will last the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ira Trivedi. I would now like to welcome a very, very renowned singer, Rini Singh. She's going to speak to us and follow it with her performance. She's a trained classical music, thumri and ghazal gaiki. She's a singer with a difference. She's a founder of Hamari Urdu Mohabbatein and Touch a Chord. She uses her music and storytelling for healing and creating love, peace and harmony. Inspired by her work with communities in conflict zone, she's partnered UNICEF to create musical videos and choirs for community radio. Earned great appreciation for her work in Kashmir with orphan girls who are a result of terrorism, and she's been invited to perform in the World Summit, Women of the World Summit, the ASEAN, Africa, and number of such important occasions. You couldn't have a better speaker and singer than Rini Singh to occupy the stage now. May I request Rini Singh?
Namaskar, dear friends. This is Rini Singh. I'm a singer and I work with music to address different issues. In today's session, I will speak on how to use different creative tools to help ourselves remain positive, feel energetic, and most of all, feel hopeful. As we all know, we are going through many challenging times. Each one of us today is facing a different kind of challenge. So in this session, we will talk of what are the tools we can use to help ourselves deal with these challenges. Before we begin, friends, I would like to start with a song. The song speaks of hope every morning when the sun rises and fills up the universe with its light. And each day is a new day. Har raat ki nayi subah. पूरब से सूर्य उगा, फैला उजियारा, जागी हर दिशा दिशा, जागा जग सारा, जागा जग सारा, जागा जग सारा. So it's important that I begin this session with energy filling up our body, mind, and soul. So, friends, why do I need a creative skill to heal myself? Why do I need to do a creative activity to feel positive? So, let's understand that. Let's understand why do we need to do a creative activity to feel positive and feel energized and feeling alive. I would like to start with an example which I experience, I think, almost every day of my life. Since I sing, I apply it to myself. There are many days when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling sad. Each one of us, I think, is surrounded with many problems. So when I feel like that, I simply either step out in the garden and start to sing, or I go into my room and just begin to sing. And as I begin that activity of my singing, I start to feel one step at a time, which I start from the bottom, I start to begin to raise that step. And that sadness, I don't even know when it happens, or that feeling of feeling really low, I really don't understand when and where it begins to disappear, and finally it's just not there. And there's eventually, after I have finished that session of singing, there's a feeling of joy from within. So number one, I would want you all to experience this feeling of joy. When you begin to address yourselves, understand yourself, and when you begin to do an activity which is creative, you will automatically begin to feel that sense of energy and sense of joy. So the next question comes, how do I know what I would like to do or what I'm good at? A lot of times we are all really lost. We try this, we try that, and we just leave it. Each one of us has tried a hand at many things. That is when we had time. And now once again we are in a space of time, I would say, when we have a lot of time in hand. And this is when we can again apply our mind to what we would like to do. So, how do I know what I would like to do? So first of all, friends, make a list of things that you enjoy doing, or make a list of things which you would like to do. To name a few, I will name some very simple activities which each one of us would like to do and is a common activity. I would start with singing, dancing, gardening, painting, and of course, getting good at a sport which you enjoy playing, which you could be doing and enjoying it. So it works both ways. An activity that gives you so much of joy and enjoyment will make the time go by so fast that you won't even get to know. Whereas there will be a certain thing which you are doing, and all the it will seem like stressful, you will get anxious, and you may not be enjoying it at all, which you thought you were enjoying. So for that, you will immediately understand that this is what is my calling, something in which you were doing something and the time has just flown by is your calling. So give yourself some time to understand what is it that you are enjoying the most, and then pick up that particular skill, activity, art form. And I will lay a lot of stress on this, friends, that you must do it. You must do it because as there is a very famous saying which says, creative art is a form of expression which helps you express when words fail. So what better form would you want to get into which will help you to express without having to speak, and which will help you heal? The biggest power to heal yourself and get yourself out of a low phase is within you. So once you understand that, friends, you will be able to take your first step towards feeling positive. And what is feeling positive? I must add that in the middle here. Feeling positive is feeling happy, feeling a sense of energy, feeling alive. So what is it that you do makes you feel like that? Because in a day we have plenty of thoughts that bog us down, plenty of worries and fears. So to balance it out so that we do not spend time and energy on these negative thoughts and fears, we must take up something which will help us forget all this process of fear and thought process of this energy, and focus on doing something so beautiful that will bring in that energy and joy within us. And this will help you deal with a lot of things. It will help you answer a lot of questions which you have within you. Once you are in a state of that calm and peace, you will be able to answer a lot of questions that you are looking for. And for this, there is another saying. There is a saying that the universe is within you. The universe is within you. And when you begin to look within, whatever the questions that you are looking for and whatever the answers that you are looking for, they are all what you are. Isn't that beautiful? And any creative activity or passion that you hone will help you reach that state. Do anything simple, but please do it. And also remember to do it with a discipline. Make a time every day for that particular activity you need to do and you want to do. Start with a very small time, maybe for 15 minutes, increase it to 30 minutes, and then go on increasing it. And friends, who knows, that could be your calling for your profession. Without even knowing, that could be the path that you were meant to be. As it's said in Urdu, it's a very beautiful saying, manzil ke liye do gaam chalu aur samne manzil aa jaye. So when I begin to start my path with sowing the seeds for it, the path begins to shine in front of me. So friends, I would like to wish you and hope for you that you will be able to take one seed from this session today, and that will be that you will focus on yourself, focus on your within, and find out what is your passion, what is it that you enjoy doing, and you will do it with full dedication, full focus, and promise yourself that you will spend time doing it and give yourself the gift of positivity and that feeling of joy once you get totally entrenched into doing this activity. So let's together sing this Rabindranath Tagore's very beautiful piece. होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब, हम होंगे कामयाब एक दिन। हो मन में है विश्वास, पूरा है विश्वास, हम होंगे कामयाब हर दिन, हम होंगे कामयाब हर दिन, हम होंगे कामयाब हर दिन।